Okay, so this is completely unrelated, but what do you guys think of my Lego Kingfisher, which still doesn't have a hat? I still need to put that on, but still, look at this. It's awesome, right? So hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about a rather controversial subject, but it is starting to be accepted more. We're going to talk about polyamory, and especially some threads that I found on Reddit about polyamory, because there's a whole thread about it and subject. Polyamory is a Greek word for many lovers, because poly is multiple and amory is love, of course. But in the case of polyamory, it means that everyone consented with having multiple lovers or partners, and there should be openness, trust, and communication involved. I actually found a few Reddit threads on polyamory, and I think there's a lot of drama going on there. Don't get me wrong, I think that there's nothing wrong with polyamory. If you want to do it, if you have a good relationship with your partner and you think opening up or having multiple partners is the way, go ahead. I won't stop you. I literally don't care. But there are some things about polyamory that needs to be discussed, and especially if it's not done right. I hear you think, like, how is there a correct way to do polyamory? There isn't. But there are certainly some things that can be seen as red flags or really toxic behavior that I want to address, because polyamory can be a great thing, and especially if everyone involved is happy. But when things go south, it's really hard to get back on track again and to regain the trust of your partner. And I know it depends on what kind of trust is broken, but these threats are pretty intense. So I hope that I've given you enough caution, because once again, it's my opinion. I'm not mocking polyamory. I'm just stating my specific opinion on these topics that I'm going to read through together with you, and I'm going to give my opinion. That's all I'm doing. Yeah. Okay, so before we're going to start, I want to explain some of the words that are going to be used in the threads. I have the polyamory glossary in front of me, and I'm going to explain to you what kind of terms you need to know in order to feel more at home in the polyamory world. So first of all, we have the word metamor, or metamor, which is about the partner of one's partner. So you have a partner, and that partner has a partner, and that partner is the meta or metamor. And meta is short for metamor. Then we have the nesting partner, which is the partner with whom one shares a home. We have NRE, which is short for new relationship energy, and that's basically the excitement and giddiness that comes with a new relationship and its early stages. Some scientists believe it's the result of oxytocin and vasopressin, well, basically hormones. It's that feeling that you get when you've met a new person and you have a lot of stuff in common and you feel so happy and really good about the connection. And in case of being in love, you feel butterflies, you know, the beginning stage where everything is beautiful and you see everything through pink glasses. That is basically what it means. Then we have non-hierarchy, which is basically about being equals to each other. So in a lot of polyamory relationships, you see that there's a structure and a hierarchy. For example, the nesting partner is the most important person and placed on number one in someone's life, and then their second partner, which doesn't live together with them, for example, is the second part in the hierarchy. I never really understood this type of connection, since you cannot state that someone else is more important. It's just that someone is different, I think, but that's how they are explaining it. And then we do have relationship anarchy. So I think that's a part of being polyamorous, because you basically don't want to label the connection you have for people, but you want to be honest and consensual about the whole idea of loving multiple people. But I think you just crave autonomy, which is perfectly fine, right? Because everyone is doing this different. And last but not least, we have solo polyamory, which is a form of polyamory in which an individual chooses to be their own primary partner, building connections without the assumption of progressing up the relationship escalator with one or more. So basically, they're stating that they are choosing themselves as their own lover and partner, not calling other partners, and they don't want to climb up a certain ladder of hierarchy or whatsoever. I think there might be more meanings and words, but for now, I think this covers it enough in order to understand. So the first topic that I found is called lie by omission, and that already sounds bad. This person is saying the following. I'm feeling so angry right now, and it's kind of turned me off of dating for the foreseeable future. I, 39 female, had been seeing my partner, 46 male, for 6 months. I'd always had a feeling there was something I was missing, but he was so sweet and kind that I just left it alone, even though it nagged at me in the back of my mind. He has a daughter who lives with him, so we were early enough that I understood him always coming to my place because I consider needing a year to meet kids for the best. Turns out that wasn't the reason. Recently he'd been distant and depressed, and when I asked him about it, he would just say he was dealing with things and it wasn't about me. I've recently been focusing on some of my own issues and began meditating to sort through some of my feelings. Oh, I feel this coming. I feel this coming. A couple days ago, that thing had been bothering me started to click into place. There were things he had changed the subject on when I brought them up, and I started to suspect what I had been missing. Oh, that's the worst feeling. Okay, so before I'm going to continue reading this, it's really the worst feeling, right? If you feel like your partner is talking over some things, like you would get the feeling that he is hiding stuff from you. At least that's the feeling I would get, and I would be like, dude, just talk to me. I obviously feel that there's something off, but I don't know, just explain. Especially because I think that, well, that still needs to come up in the story, but I think that she's polyamorous, so why can't you just be honest? We're going to talk about that later on, how being polyamorous doesn't equal being honest, of course. Okay, let's continue with the story. I typically respect people's privacy, but I needed to confirm what I suspected, so I did a little research online, which confirmed my suspicion. Well, she did a little search online. He lives with his ex. And I think he wasn't being honest about it, or he didn't tell her at all. Suddenly, I questioned everything he had told me, whether they were actually divorced, whether he lied about not having other partners, even though I had been upfront about mine. I sent him a message asking if this was true and asked for an explanation of why he didn't tell me this. He didn't respond. So you're actually not being honest to this woman, and the next thing you're gonna do is just ignore the whole situation that you have created? That makes me so mad. I said goodbye and deleted and blocked his number. I'm so angry about this. If he'd been upfront about this, I actually would have been okay with it. That's the worst part. She actually wanted to do this in a consensual way, yet he chose to lie. Or just not say anything at all. That's crazy. All I care about is honesty, so I can know how to proceed and have proper expectations about moving forward. I know it's not my fault, but I feel stupid for wasting my time with him, and it's turned me off dating for the foreseeable future because now I question if I can trust anyone. Added for clarity, I'm polyamorous and have 2 partners. I would say 2 other partners, but I don't consider this man a partner anymore. Okay, see, this is what I don't like about people having relationships in general. This is not only a polyamory thing. Let me be clear about this. But he really had the chance to be open, honest, and upfront about the situation that he's living in. Yet he decided to not tell her what is going on. And this is a phenomenon I really don't understand. I mean, why wouldn't you be honest? You stated towards each other that you love multiple people, that you gave each other consent basically in that relationship to love multiple people, yet you choose to lie. And that makes me pissed, because what's the point of being polyamorous if you're going to lie and cheat anyway? Because there really is a misconception about polyamory. A lot of people think that you cannot cheat in an open or polyamorous relationship, but yes, you can. As long as you're not being honest and communicating what you're doing with other people when you promised each other that you would do that, that's just straight up cheating. And I don't care what you think about it, but what the heck? How dare you? So this woman is basically scarred for a few months or maybe even years or the rest of her life, because this guy decided to lie to her, even though he had all sorts of options of being open. So that's the part which I don't like. I think that polyamory actually might work as long as you can actually trust the other person, that they are going to be honest, that they are going to communicate with you what's on their mind. And I really feel like already in a monogamous relationship, you really need to have really good communication skills. But in a polyamorous relationship, you're dealing with multiple people, hence why you have to be able to really communicate even better. That's when things go wrong, because people want the good parts, but they don't want to do the work. And that really bothers me about this situation. So I think she did the right thing. She left, and I would do the same, especially if he didn't show signs of remorse, or if he started to ignore me. That's a huge red flag. He did something incredibly traumatizing, and I wouldn't want him to continue breaking off all of my trust. Because let's be honest, well, for me especially, right? If I saw him doing this and we actually talked about this and we would move on, just a hypothetical case, I don't know if I would be able to trust him again, because I really feel like people that do these things and keep stuff from you can't be trusted, because there needs to be a very basic element of having the need to share things with your partner, and especially it just doesn't sit well with me. So I'm really curious what you think about this situation, and for now we're going to move on to the next. So someone asked advice on the polyamory thread. So my 31 female, husband 30 male, together for 5, married for 2. Okay, so she is a 31 female and he's a 30 male. They are both married together for 2 years, but they have been together for 5 years. Okay, got this. We had our first child in October. Since then, there has been an obvious distance between us that is making things hard since pregnancy. He has always had polygamous views and I monogamous. He's always promised that he would respect my feelings and our relationship. I just discovered that over the last 2 weeks, he has taken a woman on a date and he has sent dirty messages to her of what he wants to do. They shared a kiss, and all this was discovered 2 hours later by chance. There was no snooping, as he'd been cheated on multiple times, and I've always felt he would never do the same. P.S. Smartwatches don't delete when deleted on phone. Also don't leave on charger for messages to pop up. Just saying, people, if you're going to cheat, better do it the right way. Okay, so the woman involved is in a polyamorous marriage that has boundaries of no physicality. The husband is also my SO's co-worker. I think SO? What does that mean? Okay, so I searched it up. It means significant other. So it means that the husband is her significant other's co-worker. Both people were under the impression that we were in the same situation, which is not true. The night I found out, my 4-month-old and I packed up and went to stay at my mother's. We came back next day. We have done a lot of talking, and while there's no excuse for his actions and lies, we are doing our best to understand one another. I would have packed my bags and left, but hey, that's me. I explained to him that I understand the views always thought of it myself, but don't feel mentally ready for polygamy. Past relationships have made me very insecure and struggle with the idea as I might become less important. More so, now our family will become less important. I do still trust him and understand the neglect and loneliness as I had felt it myself. She's way too invested in how he is seeing things while he just cheated on her. Do you guys see that? I really have a hard time reading these stories because she is insanely doing her best to understand him while he just didn't think for a second and went for it. Without her knowing, there was no consent involved. Let me just read through. Tonight he told me his sexual thoughts happen often about random women that may pass by. I respect that everyone will fantasize, as I do myself, okay, fair enough, and find others attractive. I fear that if it's a plausible opportunity, he will take it again. Someone showing different and new attention will be too much to say no. I feel as though I will never be enough, that myself and our daughter will not be enough. I plan on making things work and I'm willing to try things. Anything poly would take even more time as I have lost trust between us. As I stated, I have thought of it myself but have not felt ready or secure enough in myself or my relationship. Is there any hope or advice that can be shared? I love him with all my heart and he's a wreck. He has cried every morning and night for the last week as he is a child of an unpleasant divorce and knows how hurt I am. Sounds like crocodile tears to me, woman, but what can I do to mentally grow and understand and help work through his feelings and thoughts without ruining my health and relationship? I find something very important in this story, and that is that she is saying she feels as though she never will be enough, that herself and her daughter will not be enough. But that's actually what he is displaying, right? That's not just her feeling. That's what he's doing. He is making her unimportant by turning on her while she just had his first child, or their first child. So no, I don't feel like it's just a feeling. It's something that has become reality. And she has a really hard time coping with the fact that he actually is this way. I really feel that she wants to have this situation in order to have peace for their family and be able to go through all of this for their child, but I don't feel like it's her intrinsic motivation to become polyamorous. It's his motivation, not hers. So if I'm being honest, I wouldn't give him a second chance. Because if someone in a relationship makes you feel unimportant, that's not the person you want to be with. And of course, I can totally understand that there are things that come into play, things that happened in your past that make you feel that way. Especially if you've been through trauma or you've been neglected before by a parent, for example, you might feel that way. But let me tell you this, if someone actually shows you that you're not important by cheating on you and doing things behind your back, please do not only blame your past, because this person is clearly showcasing you how they treat you. And you're very in your right if you want to leave. Actually, I would really recommend it, because what you're doing, if you're staying in a relationship like that, your self-esteem is going to be lower by the second, because the chance that he will repeat this is very big. Like she stated in this message, what she said was that she fears that if it's a plausible opportunity, he will take it again. Someone showing different and new attention will be too much to say no. If he is like that, if he is that unstable, if he wants to make those kind of choices and you are afraid by it because you can't accept that, please leave. I mean, I know it's hard because there's a child into play, you just gave birth, you really had this feeling of having a wonderful happily ever after, but this is not the way that polyamory should be done, in my opinion. It's really about open and honest communication from the start. And if it started out with lies and cheating behind your back, how can you still trust that this man will be honest? Because chances are that he will do it again and cover it up under the form of polyamory, while at the same time it's not that. He's just not being honest and you should leave. Let me take a look at the comments because I'm curious about what other people think of this. Someone said, "You don't. He's a cheater. Leave." That's what I said. That's what I said. Oh, this one is also savage. If you don't want to experiment with any kind of polyamory, you should make that clear to your husband, which is valid, and have a discussion about what behaviors are out of bounds. I'm not sure why he is crying. Is it because he fears you want to divorce him, or because you are letting him date these other women? Like I said, it really sounds like crocodile tears. He really wants to gain sympathy from this woman and wants to show her like, oh, I felt so bad for what I've done. I'm so sorry. You know, stuff like that doesn't feel sincere because all he's after is doing it his way. And he's actually really sad about the fact that she has discovered this whole thing than that he is sad about the fact that he made a mistake. Like a big mistake. Don't fall for this. I'm not a fan of being the victim or playing the victim, but if someone has to be the victim, it's the woman. It's not the guy who actually did this to her. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at this for now, but what I actually wanted to say with this is that polyamory can be done in lots of really good ways, as long as the people involved know what they are doing and know how to communicate and know how to make each other feel safe, and actually want to enlighten themselves more about the topic, what it means. And also a very big part of engaging in polyamory is that it is very important to know what your strengths and weaknesses are and insecurities, and what you are projecting to another person and which trauma is involved. And other than that, I think there's just a lot of work involved which you really need to be ready for, if that makes sense. And if you want to do the work and the other partner wants to do the work and you both feel like you want to pursue a life with multiple partners, go ahead. I don't see anything wrong with that. But if you feel like you have to change yourself or force yourself into being polyamorous for another partner, or you feel like in the core essence of your being it doesn't resonate very well to have multiple partners, then you shouldn't pursue it. No matter what everyone says around you, just listen to your gut, because you know what's right for you and you know what it is that you need. So thank you once again for watching. If you like this video, please give me a like, subscribe, and don't forget to click on the notification bell. So I see you next time. Bye! well, that's also what is happening in polyamorous environments if you don't know how to properly communicate. So I actually want to end the video with a few things, with a few factors that makes it likely. So I want to end this video with a few factors that make it likely to have a suitable match while being polyamorous, and a few things that are really cons and you shouldn't really pursue it. Of course, it's up to you, but that's what I think. So when is it suitable for you to be polyamorous, in my opinion? It's when you have a lot of knowledge about communication, you actually read a lot of things about it in books, or you actually make the effort to understand your partner, what it means to communicate, and really take their feedback to heart, as long as it is reasonable. As long as it is reasonable, of course, to make the dynamic run more smoothly. You shouldn't be too insecure, in my opinion, or have a lot of unprocessed trauma, because if you're stepping in to that dynamic, it's going to be triggered instantly. And while it can make you stronger, it may also make you it can also make you feel a lot more insecure, because it can trigger feelings of neglect, not being important enough, not being seen, or like there's not enough time for you. And if that's not for you, you shouldn't really pursue it.